Tom Noddy blows bubbles. Bubbles trail away from him wherever he goes, in whatever breeze that blows. He is a wandering minstrel, and bubbles are his song. As bubbles floated for an instant around us before vanishing forever, he invited me inside, out of the wind, into San Francisco's delightful science museum, the Exploratorium, to show me what he can do with soap and air.
Well, I do bubbles inside of bubbles, smoke bubbles, clear bubbles inside of smoke bubbles inside of clear bubbles, inside-out bubbles, yin-yang bubbles, caterpillar bubbles, love bubbles, and a bubble cube.
With such airy fantasies, Tom Noddy has lifted bubble blowing far above any playground pursuit. He calls this the carousel bubble. Watch.
Oh.
When he blows bubbles for kids, Tom Noddy always tells them not to smoke. Unfortunately, he has to smoke, else he couldn't blow smoke bubbles.
A clear bubble with a bubble full of smoke inside it.
And I'll show you the Mount St. Helens bubble. I was hitchhiking on Highway 5 a couple of years ago, and I watched Mount St. Helens erupting. Oops. Sort of looked like this. It started with an earthquake, right? And the whole mountain was trembling. Then there was an eruption. There's ashes all over Oregon, Washington, and Idaho.
Tom Noddy has wandered right around the world blowing bubbles, contemplating bubbles by day, dreaming about bubbles by night, and communing, of course, with other bubble blowers, one of whom taught him how to blow little bubbles right into big bubbles. He has learned how to build geometric bubbles, within bubbles, triangle bubbles, cube bubbles, dodecahedron bubbles, even.
Dodecahedron.
A dodecahedron, huh?
Right.
It
12
is jewel-like.
Uh-huh.
It's beautiful. Isn't it a pity it can't last?
Oh, that's the best part. That's what makes them precious, right? Oops.
What is it that's so appealing about them, exactly?
Well, they're certainly beautiful. The colors on them are intense, the shine on them. But liquid spheres, there's something about this apparent solid, which spheres are. They remind us of apples and balls. But in fact, they're liquids. They move like a liquid. They're infinitely flexible. They can do things that a solid just couldn't do, right? I think that's a large part of the appeal, and their transient nature. And everybody seems to like it. I've never done a bad bubble show. I've never blown an ugly bubble. Right? It's hard to do.
Oh. This he calls Galactica, a universe of bubbles within a bubble.
Can you make a living blowing bubbles?
If you call this living. I've supported myself as a hippie. I mean, I had no money. I lived in my van. I had no address that I had, and I just traveled around. Living cheap, living minimally, like the bubbles, minimal surface structures, economy of form, allowed me to make my living off of bubbles for nearly 12 years now.
Tom Noddy feels that he has only begun to probe the outer limits of the bubble universe. He's creating bubbles ever more intricate, ever more enchanting.
Oh.
Tom Noddy has chosen to live the life of a wandering troubadour, here today, gone tomorrow. His bubbles are transient, like him. Of course, all bubbles burst. But in the philosophy of Tom Noddy, once it has quivered in the air for even an instant, a thing of beauty is a joy forever.
It was a sunny autumn afternoon, and there was old Dave out in his driveway again, throwing knives at people. A neighbor, Lynn, dropped by for a spin.
I live about 2 blocks away. I walk by every morning walking my dog.
It's different.
Greg lives next door.
It makes for an interesting neighbor.
Oh, he's an interesting neighbor, all right. Dave is a minister with indoor-outdoor wedding chapels in his Long Island home.
How many weddings have you performed here at your house?
In the thousands. Sometimes I put the bride on the wheel of death.
Yes, he said the Wheel of Death.
It really adds a highlight to their wedding album. Well, Bill, this is Throwdini Central.
Oh, my God.
Mild-mannered Reverend David Adamovich is also the great Throwdini, master of the impalement arts.
It's my stage name as a knife thrower.
His attic is a cutlery museum, complete with a practice range.
I've studied and analyzed and researched the flight of a knife. I've done it with high-speed videography, 60 frame per second stuff. I've done it with radar.
He'd been intensively training to scale the Mount Everest of knife throwing.
Wow, what am I hitting?
The Veiled Wheel of Death, in which the spinning wheel and the woman on board are completely obscured from the knife thrower.
Whoop, one collision. I don't think I hit the girl.
Ready or not, it was time to attempt the feat in a show at a Long Island university.
Bang, bang, bang.
Throwdini quickly changed backstage. He'd stopped along the way to perform a marriage.
Man of the cloth by day, man of steel by night.
Please put your hands together for the very, very talented and our headliner for the evening, Throwdini.
Throwdini warmed up, his knives flying at his target girl, Melissa Ann, ever faster, larger, and closer.
Now we really raise the stakes.
It had reached the hour of the Veiled Wheel of Death, successfully performed only 3 times since 1939.
You guys are witnessing history in the making.
The audience grew silent. Some turned away. Throwdini made history, and his target girl emerged without a scratch.
We did it. We did it. Let's hear it for Melissa.
Have you had any serious injuries in your show?
I knew you were going to ask that. There have been several incidents over 9 years of performing on stage, and they've never involved impaling or sticking the girl. They have involved scrapes.
Why would anyone want to be a target girl? Melissa Ann.
I've never been one to lead a very dull life, that's for sure. And, you know, I think I'm going to look back on this when I'm older and be like, oh, that was pretty cool when I was doing that.
Melissa Ann is cool, calm, collected, and yes, to the rest of us, perhaps a little crazy. You have to be crazy to let someone throw knives at you.
Whatever you do, don't run away.
What do I do with my arms and stuff?
You can cross them like this to get that elbow a little more.
I'd like a last meal and a cigarette.
Ooh. You were rocking back and forth. Were you afraid of them?
Was I rocking?
Yes, you were. With each one, you were a little shift to each side.
Yeah, I think it's natural. That's how the species got this far.
Throwdini said I wasn't ready to be a target girl. There's no flinching in the impalement arts.
Hocus pocus. Clearly, it would take more than a magic wand to transform me into a magician. But even in these high-tech times, this most ancient of arts does have a future. Our Halloween cover story is reported by Nancy Giles.
And then show everybody the card. Make sure the camera sees it. Just put it back in the middle of the deck, face down.
Magic
right there.
never seems to lose its ability.
If I take the 7 of clubs and I shake it,
to astonish.
It will look like your card, because I'll make the clubs look like they disappear. See how now it looks like the 3 of clubs?
These magicians are part of a collective.
Hold on. 1 second. Yeah, if I got a pen
called Theory 11.
I can take it. Wait, hold on. What? Hello? Hello?
Get the no. They take age-old magic and make it new again.
It's one of the few things in 2017 that you can do for another person that they can't explain.
Jonathan Bain is the group's founder.
Everyone can explain everything now. You've got an iPhone, you can FaceTime someone in Alaska, so nothing is impressive anymore, and nothing makes people say, wow, that's impossible, or that's amazing, and they can't explain it, because you can explain everything with Google, but magic is one of the few things that still survives.
Take any one of these cards out.
Oh. Theory 11's magicians appear in the streets and on the stage, where Dan White's magic show is selling out in a trendy Manhattan hotel.
Magic has had a connotation for a long time of being kind of cheesy. We just try to make it not cheesy in any way that's possible.
White conjures up old-school trickery.
I'm going to enter in an image search into Google.
While dialing into some 21st century electronic wizardry.
Good, okay. Images, fantastic.
Like the magic he did with my cell phone, with Google as his assistant.
I want you to place your hand top of that speaker so you don't think anything.
Right here?
Yep.
Okay.
You're familiar with a number of different celebrities, right?
Sure.
Okay, I want you to sort of imagine in your mind a whole bunch of celebrities in front of you. Like if you were on Google Images yourself and you're sort of scrolling through images of different celebrities. I want you to stop on one.
Okay.
You got one?
Mm-hmm.
Who is it?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
All right, that's your phone.
Yes, it is.
Turn over, show what I Googled.
I don't believe this. It's Whoopi Goldberg.
The Theory 11 gang wants to spread its skills to a new generation. Watch the card manipulation they taught the stars of the movie Now You See Me Too. Or the tricks they taught Neil Patrick Harris.
There's one card there. Is that outside of the car? And no water will come out. Ooh.
And Benedict Cumberbatch.
Ooh, it might not work, it might not work, it might not work. Ah. There we go, okay.
They offer online tutorials.
That tear is actually hidden in the design of the bill.
And if you're really lucky, a personal lesson.
And with your thumb on this side, you're just going to drop half the cards. I'll do it first. Watch. Boom. So just dropped half of them. There you go. But you want them to fall sort of this way. Good. Okay, good. Okay. Now with your pointer finger, which is here, you're going to push up on that packet like that and cause it to go. Look at it. It's amazing. And you did it. That's it.
That's pretty pitiful.
So perhaps we should move on.
The earliest known magic trick was a guy in Egypt who chopped off a goose's head and then put it back on.
What?
Yeah.
Ron Carnell, a magician himself,
he built some just fantastic stuff.
Gives tours at the American Museum of Magic in Marshall, Michigan. Carnell says magic was historically the province of wizards and witches, until a Frenchman named Jean-Eugène Robert Houdin appeared in the 1840s and dressed it up.
So I see him there. He's in a beautiful suit and jacket. Exactly. Very elegant.
Now, the good news is that changed the face of magic. That turned us into a theatrical art. The bad news is people still think that magicians should wear tails and big top hats.
Harry Houdini, the most famous magician ever, took his name from Robert Houdin by adding an I at the end.
Yeah, he would be handcuffed in it, placed in this, and then placed into the river.
Houdini escaped from this chest.
So our head would be at one end, our feet at the other.
And women were sawed in half in this box. The thousands of posters of magicians in the museum represent different acts, but one underlying principle: misdirection.
Misdirection is controlling where people are focusing. And I'll give you a good example. Magician walks out, and he rolls up his sleeves. And the magician shows you that his hand is completely, totally, unquestionably empty. The other hand can do the sneaky stuff. While you're focusing up here, it might slip into the pocket and come out with a bright, big, shiny silver dollar. Not in this hand, over here in this one.
So let's see again if I can get my hands around that card trick.
So if you just do that 10,000 more times, I'll wait here.
Yeah, I know, don't.
It's just this over and over again. But after you learn this
See?
move, there we go.
And we're gone. Cut!
Okay, so maybe I'm not a card whiz, but let's meet someone who is. Richard Turner.
Pick a number between 10 and 20. Melissa.
15.
15. Watch. I'm going to try to cut with one hand 15 cards.
Turner operates somewhere near the intersection of magician and card shark.
13, 14.
Did we do it? We did it, Melissa. Very good.
What happened when you first felt a deck of cards in your hand?
It's just, there's something sexual. I hate to even use that word.
Why? It's what makes the world go round.
Yeah.
Come on.
Here's something you never do when you play cards for money. Never shuffle a deck. One in each hand. It makes the other players nervous.
One thing you should know, Richard Turner is blind.
What is that card?
Queen.
He began losing his sight in childhood. He looks back at his school years in a new documentary about his life.
When I was 11, I was sent off to Carlton Hills, and they had a VH room. VH stood for visually handicapped. I did not like the word handicapped. I still, to this day, I can't stand the word handicapped, and I hated the word blind.
Let's see if this deck is pretty evenly mixed.
He says it's all about touch.
I can just feel them as they're lacing one inside the other, and they, to me, they will feel, my thumbs, they'll feel like they're as thick as a block of wood.
Turner is constantly manipulating cards. Constantly. Building muscle memory. At home, he has tens of thousands of decks.
Nowadays, I have a 2 to 3 pack a day habit. I used to have a 3 to 6 pack a day habit.
Okay, Richard Turner, show me what you got. I want to see some queens.
Okay, cut it half.
Cut in half. Now cut this half in half.
Okay.
Half over here. Take this half, cut it here.
Okay. Got it.
Take this card, move it there.
Okay.
Take this top card, move it here.
Okay.
Take this top card, move it across.
Okay.
Take this top card, move it across.
Okay.
Diagonal. And turn over the top card of each pile. Tell me what you have.
Queen of Hearts. Queen of Clubs. Queen of Diamonds. Queen of Spades.
What? So, how do you get to be a magician? Practice.
I'm going to spread these on
Practice. Practice.
Keep pushing, and with that pointer finger, you're pushing, and there we go. Done. Completed. Drop the mic.
Maybe there is hope for me yet.
The queens are in my hand right now.
In your hand.
Okay.
See, that's the whole point.
All
This
right.
deck is face up, yes?
Yes.
Hand me the queens face up.
Face up, okay.
What is your favorite suit? Spade, diamond, club, or heart?
Heart.
Take the heart. Okay. She's a lover. Good. All right. I'm going to leave your other 3 queens on the bottom, okay?
Okay.
You're going to understand what I do. Hand me the queen of hearts face up.
There she is.
Watch the queen of hearts. I want the queen of hearts. So what happens is I'll deal cards around the table to the other players. Only when I'm ready do I deal the queen of hearts. Watch face up. See how the card sits there as the second card is dealt. Only when I'm ready do I deal the queen of hearts. Eh? Watch again. I'll deal it in slow motion. Slow motion.
You can do that. You can control the top card.
Any
and
card.
deal the
one under, exactly.
Okay, let me...
Watch face up. See how the card just sits there until I want the queen does not move. Here's one-handed. Now watch when the queen's face down. See, when it's face down, it's hard to tell that you were swindled.
You can't tell.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
It's so liquid. It's so smooth.
Because to deal a card off the top takes no effort. So you have to be able to deal that second one with the same, as you put it, liquidity.
Many people claim, and many others question, the existence of ESP, extrasensory perception. Erin Moriarty of 48 Hours has gone searching for answers.
This is Uri Geller.
In the 1970s, a handsome ex-Israeli army paratrooper popularized extrasensory perception, or ESP.
Bend, melt.
Uri Geller claimed he could bend spoons with his mind.
Look, you see?
See inside sealed containers.
The steel ball is found.
And even read other people's minds.
As you can see, he is quite elated about getting the right answer.
It was great television. But offstage, Geller had also caught the eye of the intelligence community.
And this is where it got very interesting, because scientists would consider, wait a minute, maybe we can read the minds of other government officials. Maybe we can see inside a nuclear facility in Russia.
It sounds incredible, but it's true. Relying on now declassified documents, national security reporter Annie Jacobson has written about the U.S. government's decades-long attempts to use Uri Geller and others like him for psychic espionage.
It's sort of like a highly classified black program inside of a black program. One, because you don't want the Russians or the Chinese to know what we're doing. And two, because a lot of scientists didn't want their colleagues to know what they were doing because of the embarrassment factor.
And there had long been reports, says Jacobson, that the Kremlin was also experimenting with ways to weaponize people with ESP.
And there is a declassified report that talks about the Pentagon's real fear, citing Uri Geller by name, that if he was able to bend metal with his mind, he might be able to use his mind to interfere with the delicate electronic system on a nuclear-tipped ICBM.
Keep looking.
But Uri Geller's skills turned out to be unreliable.
Uri was telling me you don't feel, what, strong tonight?
I don't
Is that
feel strong.
As seen in this now infamous appearance on The Tonight Show in 1973.
Well, I'm not trying to press you, I really not.
Still, that didn't stop the government experiments. In the 1980s, the Defense Intelligence Agency began Project Stargate.
It was top secret, actually beyond top secret.
Dean Radin, a scientist, worked on the program that employed about a dozen psychics and mediums.
For what?
For espionage.
To see whether someone in the United States could spy on other countries from here.
Right.
Just using their mind.
Right.
Did it work?
It did work, yeah.
I was good at finding people. I was good at locating things.
Angela Ford was with Project Stargate for 9 years. She calls herself a medium. The Defense Department preferred remote viewer.
In a sense, were you hired as a psychic spy?
I guess, yes.
Her assignment? To look for missing hostages and fugitives without ever leaving this building at Fort Meade in Maryland.
I was called into session and my boss asked me, "Where is Charles Jordan?"
In 1989, Ford says she was able to psychically track down a former customs agent who had allegedly gone rogue.
I said, "The man is in Lowell, Wyoming," and I spelled it Lowell.
Ford was off by a letter. It was Lovell, Wyoming.
Well, when my boss went to Customs and said, we're still getting the Wyoming feeling, Customs said, as we are speaking, we are apprehending Charles Jordan 100 miles west of Lovell, Wyoming.
So you were right.
We were right.
There's no obvious explanation for how Ford obtained the intel that turned out to be accurate. But could it have been ESP? Not according to physicists like Caltech's Sean Carroll.
Is there such a thing as ESP?
No. I think we know enough about the brain to say, no, it really doesn't work that way. We'd be able to test that, be able to put a little receiver next to your head and pick up those signals if they were actually coming.
They can't detect it yet.
You believe ESP exists?
Yeah, of course.
In 1995, Project Stargate was shut down, but government interest in the paranormal has not been completely abandoned. Writer Annie Jacobson says the military is studying soldiers who seem to be able to sense danger.
An example would be a soldier out in the battlefield with a unit, and the one soldier says, let's not go down that street any further. I sense an IED. They'll send a robot out, and the robot will locate the buried IED.
It's called precognition, sensing what will happen before it does. Dean Radin, now at the Institute of Noetic Sciences that studies ESP, put me through a test.
This experiment is going to see if your body responds before you see an emotional picture as compared to before a calm picture. And there we go.
If the pupils of my eyes dilate before the disturbing ones appear on the screen, that's precognition.
And I'm going to find out whether I have any special powers.
We'll find out, and the answer is yes.
That I am reacting before I'm seeing an emotional picture.
5 seconds before.
Whoa, I sure didn't see that coming, which is why I have my doubts. But those who have seen people like Uri Geller and Angela Ford in action say you can't dismiss the idea that some people may have ESP.
What we're talking about is something like a talent, similar to musical talent or sports talent. So there will be some people who are at the Olympic level. Most of us aren't there.
There's instances of unusual situations, but there is no proof. It does not pass scientific muster.
He's a young magician whose work will astound you. Abracadabra. Faith Saley has his story.
You want to see a close-up magic trick?
Yes.
Okay. Real?
Yeah.
$100 bills?
Real money.
It's real money. I would give this to you, but look at that. Of course, you twist and turn it and try to solve it, and I can't do that. But
Meet Jason Bishop, an illusionist making a name for himself.
What just happened? What's the difference between a magician and an illusionist?
Illusionist gets paid more. Yeah. No.
Shake it out. Relax.
Here, he gets a little help from his dog, Gizmo.
I'm just doing something I enjoy, and you know, my sort of philosophy is like, make the tricks you like, put them in front of an audience, and if they like them, then you're good.
Good enough to perform around the world. But there's more than meets the eye to this 40-year-old New Jersey native. While he won't reveal his secrets, there are some things Bishop wants you to know. They're about his life, one that, as you'll see, was far from magical.
It hits me sometimes that, this is kind of hard to say, but like, you know, there wasn't a single entity that loved me from like day one on, like anyone.
Bishop was born Jason Castro into a deeply troubled family. His earliest memories are of trying to survive.
My biological parents were severe drug addicts, and you know, my brothers and sisters and I slept on a single mattress on the floor, you know, like 4 or 5 of us.
It would get worse. When his father died and his mother was sent to prison, Bishop and his siblings became wards of the state. Placed in foster care, they bounced from home to home. His brother, Dino Vargas, calls those years a nightmare.
And foster care was supposed to be the salvation of us, but it was hell, a lot of it. And there were times where we were beat with belts, we were locked in basements.
But Jason Bishop would find a way to escape through escape artists. In high school, he read about Harry Houdini and other magicians in this library.
Harry Houdini was not born wealthy. Harry Keller was not born wealthy. There was something attractive to me about the fact that these guys were just poor people, and they found magic, and through like their own drive, they could make their life. So this is the first stage I did magic on, actually. It was a whole show. I did like 30, 40 minutes. I don't know how I did that. And I did a little illusion where I made this kid appear at the end.
At 15, he made his debut in his school auditorium.
It took a long time to be able to figure out that technique. Try it.
I mean, I have no idea what you just did. Yeah!
Catch 3D at home.
Ooh!
Eric Bronfenbrenner is a former classmate who became a lifelong friend.
You know, each step of the way, and I almost feel guilty to say it, but like in high school was, I mean, this is a neat hobby. What are you going to do with your life? And now looking back, I've never seen a more determined kid.
His calling was launched. But the career took some time to get off the ground. A big boost came from Kim Hess, his girlfriend of 21 years.
You guys met in high school?
Yep, our senior year of high school.
How do you keep the magic alive?
I don't know, somehow we get along really, really well. And we're together more than a normal couple.
Kim is part of the act. When she's not disappearing, she's levitating. Something I got the chance to do.
I'm just gonna make sure you're safe
Wait, don't
here.
go away, don't leave
It's okay.
me. I don't
You're
want to
good.
fall.
I'll throw a little hoop over you. What do you think of that?
Levitating is kind of easy.
There you go.
Ho, 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 it's magic.
Fans love what Jason Bishop does. And those who know him best love who he's become.
He was very clearly not going to let whatever it was his life was born into define him. I'm just proud of him.
You can choose to make magic of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Are you going to bring me down?
I will bring you down
Okay.
right now. Here we go.
Abracadabra. Here's some magic from David Pogue.
Watch 1, 2, 3.
To say that Shin Lim does card tricks is like saying that Mozart was a piano player.
Yeah. Every single card is blue. It's hard to see the backs of the card. So what you have to do is we just need to change the back, and we actually need to just change the color back of every single card.
Shin Lim makes cards appear in empty space, and then they're just gone. He changes the identity of a card while you're staring right at it. And he makes a signed Two of Hearts seem to be everywhere at once.
There are people who say the guy is a demon, the guy is a genuine wizard.
No.
All right, so would you go on national TV and say, there's a trick to everything I do? There's
a method to everything.
So there's no real magic on this stage?
No, then I'd be lying.
But don't tell that to the audiences at his new Las Vegas show at the Mirage. Now, Shin Lim's first career goal was to become a concert pianist, but halfway through music school, carpal tunnel syndrome forced him to drop out. His backup plan was magic. When he was 16, his older brother had shown him a card trick. And because he was 16, Shin Lim's first thought was,
This is amazing. I can finally get a girlfriend. That's what I...
Did it work?
No.
What?
Because then it turns out you have to talk to girls after you do the trick, and I was still so shy. I still couldn't talk. I'm very, very bad at talking.
This one is super easy.
Lim spent years watching tutorial videos on YouTube and practicing in his bedroom, but his first performances didn't exactly set the world on fire. At his first international magic competition,
I lost. I didn't even place at all. And so I said, you know what? We're gonna cut the talking. I'm just gonna try music.
Performing silently to music changed everything. Suddenly, Shin Lim began winning competitions.
Respect the art.
In 2015, he appeared on Fool Us, a TV show in which performers attempt to stump veteran magicians Penn and Teller. He fooled them, all right.
So you, sir, fooled us. He does card magic. He does it better than anyone else, and he does it differently than other people. It's supposed to be amazing and beautiful, and it's amazing and beautiful.
Shin Lim!
On America's Got Talent in 2017, Shin Lim won the season and the $1 Million prize.
Best in the world!
He won the America's Got Talent Battle of Champions, too.
That one.
Okay. His TV appearances have racked up over 150 million views on YouTube. In fact, almost everyone who's ever seen Shin Lim has seen him on a screen. But you know what? His magic is still mind-blowing when you're sitting right there next to him.
Do you mind signing with your name? Right over there at the top.
Yep.
Watch the 3. I can make it slowly turn into. No. That's just 1/3.
No.
That's 2/3, and now, eventually, we can get the entire queen along with your signature. There.
Oh, I hate you so much!
Now, in the internet age,
there are entire websites, there are exposure videos where people try to recreate what you've done. How important is the secret to what you offer?
Not too important.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's almost like Beethoven, it's not about the notes on the page. Everyone knows you're just pushing keys on the keyboard. But then all of a sudden, what comes out of the piano sounds like magic. And that's the same thing with a deck of cards. It's how well do you present it to the point where people forget that you're acting, and to the point where they believe you're a magician.
It's the Design Issue on Sunday Morning. And here again is Jane Pauley.
It would be easy to disappear in a home like this. Tracy Smith catches up with the master of making things disappear, magician David Copperfield.
He's the most successful magician of a generation and one of the most enduring. Hard to believe it's been 40 years since David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty seem to vanish. That feat alone drew a reported 50 million viewers for CBS and helped make David Copperfield a household name.
That's like some David Copperfield.
Harper just invited us to go see David Copperfield.
The Queen just disappeared behind Trump. He David Copperfielded the Queen.
Today, the Copperfield show is still a big draw at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, where people crowd in nightly to see a billionaire at work. The show is all his design, from the music that swells at just the right moment to the lighting and the props on stage that let the audience see just enough to be amazed.
Do you still get chills walking around here?
You know, it becomes part of who you are.
We met him at his private museum near the Las Vegas Strip, where he's assembled the world's largest collection of all things magic. It's all here, from Houdini's handcuffs and water escape tank to the actual Macy's counter where Copperfield bought his very first magic trick.
Like the Elizabeth Hurley.
It's also where he refines his show under very tight security.
How often do you share how you do these illusions with the public?
I think it's the first time we've discussed the journey, the process on national TV, so it'll be interesting.
Cool. I feel special. All right, let's look.
Just about all of his illusions start as sketches, like a flying saucer that magically appears, and a giant blade that seems to cut a woman in half.
It's a blade that not only is a blade, but I could hang from the blade.
And the results? Divided.
And it's the first time somebody was cut in half like this.
Visibly.
We also got a peek at a future illusion involving groups of people who will all vanish or fly or something like that.
So, what is this?
This is a model so we can get camera shots figured out for a big new illusion that we can't talk about right now.
If it sounds like he's being evasive, it's because he is. The first rule of Copperfield's magic is that Copperfield won't talk about his magic, mainly because he's one of the most copied artists in the business, and he doesn't want to give anything away.
How did David Copperfield...
But that doesn't stop people from guessing. Just go online and you'll see videos from armchair experts who claim to reveal Copperfield's secrets. Some of them, not necessarily these, are actually red herrings posted by Copperfield himself.
So the videos that you put out
As somebody else.
are misdirecting people. They're not really the illusion explained.
100%.
Why do you do that?
Because it's fun.
For him, the magic business has always been fun. Born David Kotkin in Metuchen, New Jersey, the boy who became David Copperfield started doing tricks at age 12, and his success is, well, no illusion.
My magic is real to a certain degree. When you hear people call them magic tricks, it's kind of like, I understand, I accept it. I use the word trick, I did it today. But it's kind of diminishing all the hard work that goes in that in-between part from when it's not there and when it's there.
He's now a very fit 66 and in a long-time relationship with designer Chloe Goslin, with whom he has a teenage daughter. But Copperfield is still hustling. He does 15 shows a week, 15, with 3 on Saturdays alone.
So days off?
None.
But David, you're a billionaire. You do not need to do this.
But I like it, you know, I really enjoy it. I'm fortunate, you know, to walk out there and people are kind of happy to be there, you know? And some people actually need to be there. People are in the front row and I can see in their face, take me away, I need to dream.
And he says he'll keep doing it as long as he can stand on stage and make people wonder how the heck he does it.
It could be 20,000 people in an arena. There's one lady in the front row going with her arms crossed, and that's the one I want. You know, it's that lady. I have to gotta make her smile. You know.
And how does it feel when you do?
You know, it feels great when you do, and when I don't, I keep trying.
Do you believe it's possible to communicate with the dead? Each year, Americans spend billions trying to do just that. This morning, Tracy Smith is talking with one very happy medium.
As psychics go, 28-year-old Tyler Henry is a pretty big medium. His specialty, as seen on his E! Network TV show, is helping folks connect with their departed relatives, like Bobby Brown here.
He's having me just acknowledge this feeling of like, I need my son to know how much I love him because I wish I would have said that more in life.
It's so good to see you all. How's everyone doing?
He also has a road show that regularly sells out.
She's completely at peace. She's completely fine. But
with tickets ranging from $50 to $300 a seat.
Do you know who Johnny is? John is my brother.
Oh, John, okay.
And Henry says he has a 600,000 plus waiting list.
Gosh, it's like you're in my body.
Of people who want one-on-one readings like these.
In a big way. You're dealing with something that exists in a gray area, and gray areas make people very uncomfortable.
Oh my God, hi. It's so good to meet you.
True enough, but it also gives some people a sense of peace.
I'm excited today to see whatever comes in and what happens to come through.
Me too.
Like Jim Parsons, whom Tyler helped find closure with his late grandmother.
Connected to your father. He's having me go to the grandparent level, generationally. For some reason, they're having me reference to a name, and it sounds something along the lines of like May, or there's some M, I'm saying M, A, and then like
May's
E.
my grandmother.
Oh, perfect. Okay, awesome.
Tyler mentioned my grandmother's was May, which he nailed like that. She was apologizing and saying, I'm sorry for being such a pain in the ass towards the end.
When did this all start? When did you discover you had this ability?
It started for me when I was 10 years old. My first kind of identifiable premonition happened in April of 2006. I woke up one night and just knew that my grandmother was going to die. and it was a case where it felt like it had already happened. And I rolled out of bed and I went to go try to explain this to my mom. And as I was sharing this with her, her phone rang. And when she picked it up, it was literally the news from my dad that he had just watched my grandmother die. So that really kicked it off, but I didn't recognize that as a talent. In fact, it was, quite painful.
Henry studied to be a hospice nurse, but quit to start reading people full-time, though he says that now, in some ways, he's doing the same kind of work.
How do you think this helps people deal with grief?
I think it helps people process emotions that they don't generally feel comfortable processing. So it's really a beautiful, beautiful opportunity, one I don't take lightly, and one that I think of as a responsibility.
Somebody over here, did anybody lose a niece?
And for those who are grieving, it can all get pretty real. For instance, in a live show in New York last year, Henry sensed that someone in the crowd had lost a niece.
Okay, I know that I'm in the front section and the way this is coming through, somewhere in this department. But
And then he found a man who'd recently lost his niece.
Okay. I have to highlight a reference to the month of July. We're in August currently. July was important, all right? This is a... Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh.
What do you say to people who say, oh, come on?
Yeah. I think that it's important to embrace skepticism, to never lose sight of our critical thinking, and to more than anything use common sense. But I also think that when it comes to grief, it's something we're all going to face. And if I'm able to deliver one thing, one unknowable detail, one piece of information that validates to a person that there is more to life than what we see, then that is worth any skepticism I face, any backlash, because I know that I've left someone better than I found them.
Of course, not everyone in the psychic services industry leaves people better off. Tyler Henry says about half the people in his business aren't what they say they are.
I know nothing. Everything that I have, everything that comes out of here, comes from the man upstairs.
In the 90s, a woman named Yuri Del Harris posed as a Jamaican psychic named Miss Cleo.
You know the one I am talking about, don't you?
And became the face of a popular call-in psychic advice service.
Call me now for your free reading.
Turns out it was all an act. Miss Cleo was actually from Los Angeles, but whenever anyone asked her about it, as I did in 2003, she was less than forthcoming.
Where were you born? You know what? I will tell you the same thing that I told the Attorney General. I took a number 5 with him. That's the 5th Amendment. And I will take it with you at this time.
How about birthday? Will you tell me that if you won't tell me where you're born?
I'll take a number 5.
I'm taking that as a no. Tell me your sign.
I'll take a number 5.
This is a beautiful spot.
Thank you.
Tyler Henry knows there will always be frauds and skeptics, but he sees a future in his business and says we shouldn't knock things we can't explain.
Consciousness is clearly very complicated, multifaceted. There's an element to it that we clearly don't understand, but to be able to sit with a stranger and get an insight into their life as though it is one's own life speaks to the fact that I think we are much more connected than we realize.
Martha Teichner now, visiting with some folks who really know how to light up a stage.
What on earth? No, it's not animation. Welcome to Dino Light. Produced by Lightwire Theater. The clue is in the name. Everything on stage is defined by wires that light up. L-wire, it's called. What you see looks like magic. What you don't see is the performers making it all happen in head-to-toe black, wearing weird rigging.
Wow.
This is Phaedra.
Kevin Chick is one of those huge birds.
I have one string on the inside of the PVC that will nod the head, and then if I pull this other PVC, that's when I can get the jaw to move like this. Everything goes on with Velcro.
And how do you switch the lights on and off?
We have the dimmer is actually right here on the strap of the backpack, so I know where it is in the dark.
How would you characterize what it is that you guys do?
It's dance. it's theater, it's puppetry.
So this is our rehearsal space, and we make sure that it looks just like it will at each theater.
New Orleans is home for Lightwire Theater and for husband and wife co-founders Eleanor and Ian Carney. They met as kids. His mother taught her ballet. Both went on to careers in dance. Ian was introduced to electroluminescent wire by fellow dancer and Lightwire co-creator Corbin Popp.
He found it on like party hat kids, you know, it would glow.
In 2007, Lightwire Theater was born.
We weren't engineers, we weren't electricians. I think that we are encouraging and inspiring people to get out and create their own stories, their own glowing creatures.
Lightwire Theater got a huge break when it made the semifinals of America's Got Talent in 2012.
We felt very proud and surprised.
Today, the company tours 6 different shows, often 2 at once. Not just in the United States, but all over the world. What the performers can and cannot do depends entirely on being able to fold all their costumes into a few small cases, along with whatever it might take to fix them if something breaks on the road.
They're teeny tiny little wires. Yeah.
Central to everything is the flexible, colorful, although touchy L-wire.
The biggest problem, I would say, with L-wire is that anywhere in this entire piece, if you had any problem, something happens, the whole thing's dead.
But one of Lightwire's most delicious enchantments is how do-it-yourself, how MacGyvered the reality behind the magic is.
These appear to be half a teddy bear.
Yes.
What are they doing?
There's a lot of plushies that get thrown into the sludge during Mardi Gras because they're all thrown from the floats.
Oh.
So we grab them all, we wash them. It's the perfect medium to give eyes to a worm.
Just look how well dryer hoses dance. This is what they look like in the show. Here's Dino Light's big fight scene in rehearsal. And now, here it is, in the dark, during a show at the LaFon Performing Arts Center in Luling, Louisiana, not far from New Orleans.
We've performed the show many times before, but what's different about today was you. That energy shaped the show that you saw on the stage today.
At the end of each show, Ian Carney leaves the audience with this message about handmade, in-person, live performance.
We were in the room together and we shared this together. So keep remembering this feeling because this feeling happens in the theater.